Hello and welcome back to another episode of Inside the Aspergers Studios. Today on the show, I'm joined with a very lovely woman who has such a lovely heart and she's such a lovely person. She is the newest life coach from ASD Life Coaching Services. So sit back, relax, and grab your favorite beverage and let's learn more about her. See you there.
I wanna believe in the truth, but only see what I'm shown. Got the freedom to choose, but can't decide on my own. Follow what the group is thinking, bottle up my intuition till it's popping out.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Inside the Aspergers Studios. Today I'm joined with Maryam Mogawer. Welcome to the show, Maryam.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
So why don't we start off with why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
So, I am a person that's super passionate about mental health. I've studied psychology, mental health, and disability management, and then worked in the field for a few years. And I'm just looking for more and ways to contribute to the field that more so in research where it might be lacking. So I'm still exploring my avenues, and now I am a cognitive coach for ASD Life Coaches, as you know. So here I am pursuing my passion.
All right. What made you want to become a life coach?
So I actually, it was kind of fate, to be honest. I had a mental health job that I loved before this, but it was a temporary contract. So after 6 months, it was up. And then about a month later, my brother is actually a fellow coach for the company, and he said, "Hey, the founder sent out emails that we have an influx of clients, and it would be great if we could get some more coaches on board. Are you interested?" And I was like, I totally am. So I sent in my resume, and then very shortly after talked to Jacqueline, and I was like, this job sounds so perfect. And it just kind of everything really fell into place on its own. And now I love it, and it's the best job I've had.
All right. Let's start off with where did you grow up?
I grew up in Kuwait, so I'm half Egyptian, half Kuwaiti, but born and raised in Kuwait. Beautiful place. Haven't gotten to see it in 5 years, but hopefully soon.
All right. What motivates you, inspires you, and drives you?
What motivates me is definitely my past and future self. I always look at my past self and I'm always looking for ways to grow. And it really motivates me when I think, like, I haven't grown enough in this particular area and I've done so much more in this area. So I need to catch up, for example. And when I look at my future
Hmm.
self, I just want her to be happy. So that's my goal. I'm always looking for ways to fulfill myself, to fulfill my soul, my passions, anything that drives me to help me grow while feeling happiness. And that is what inspires me as well. It's hard to pinpoint a specific, like, tangible thing that inspires me. Sounds hard. And then what drives me is also the same goals and just kind of, I don't want to say ideal because I'm not, an idealistic, like, irrational way, but an ideal future for sure. I just want that feeling of happiness while producing meaningful purpose in my life and while getting to do things I love, like making paintings and art and just little things that make me happy. So I guess kind of the same thing for all three questions.
All right. What is the best compliment you've ever received?
Definitely when someone told me that I am like a ray of sunshine. That made me happy, and I think about it every day.
All right. What's your biggest failure and what did you learn from that experience?
My biggest failure. Um, I guess I technically didn't actually fail, but when I had to take a year off from school for mental health purposes, it felt really bad at the time just because it was a cost for me and a cost for my family. My mother supported me through my education and I just felt really bad about it. But at the time, it was what was needed. It was definitely the right thing because that year was the turning point for me where my life completely changed for the better forever. So I think it really taught me the importance of not pushing yourself to burnout and really giving yourself space and prioritizing mental health. And that's where my huge passion for mental health really began. So even though it was a failure,
Hmm.
I'm like, I wouldn't change a thing.
All right.
Hmm.
Yeah, because a lot of people say they wouldn't change their fails because it's a learning experience.
Exactly. I wouldn't have known all of these things and I wouldn't have been here without that.
All right. Tell me about three influential people in your life and how they impacted you.
Hmm. Three influential people would definitely first and foremost be my mom. She raised my brother and I in a sense of find your passion and work in it and be happy. Don't get hung up on failures as long as you always try your best and you can honestly say you're putting in the effort. That's all that matters. And because she raised us like that, I was able to kind of go through a trial and error process in my own life and find my passions, and I don't have the mental struggles that people typically would. So I'm eternally grateful for her. And another person would be a university friend from second year. Her name was Brenda. She doesn't know this, but she definitely changed my life because I was only 17 when I started university. I was super naive, I'd moved across the world to a new country. I didn't know anybody. So meeting her, she awakened me to a lot of avenues of my life, things that I'm still passionate about, things that I still use to this day. And she was actually the first person that brought up to me that, and she's like, I think you might have Asperger's. And I didn't even know what that was at the time. So that's just one example of all the ways that she's changed my life. And third person, it's gonna sound like a cheat answer, but I will definitely say also my past self because that is a huge drive to always push myself. It's a huge motivator.
Hmm. That's funny you mentioned that your friend is mentioned that you had Asperger's because when I was in school, I after I had graduated, I was talking with one of my friends, and out of the blue, she goes, "Can I ask you a personal question?" And I'm like, "Sure." And she's like, Do you have autism?"
Oh my God.
I'm like, "Oh my God, how do you know? How did you
Yeah.
know?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." She's like, "Well, I'm a psychology major and I work with younger
Oh.
kids who are autistic who have a lot of your traits, like
Mm-hmm.
over friendliness, not knowing when to say something,
Mm-hmm.
if something's right or wrong."
Yeah.
She's like, "Are you doing something about it?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And it just shocks you is how
Mm-hmm.
somebody who's not neurotypical, who's not neurodivergent, I mean, but neurotypical can read you and know, and who's even taking classes can read those signs, those traits in you.
It's very impressive. I think about that all the time, especially in my coaching work. And like, there's obviously lots of neurotypical coaches, and I am so impressed with it all the time because it's something you don't experience, but you're able to look at it and diagnose it and help it and support people through it. So it's
Mhm.
kind of a superpower. Sorry,
All
that's
right.
my cat.
Finish this sentence. I'm at my best when.
When I'm making art.
All right. What makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
Um, when I feel like I'm really putting an effort into my life. When I'm doing something that makes me feel like I'm bettering myself, when I am contributing to that better version of myself every day, that's what makes me feel like I'm on the right path. I want to keep going and I want to do even better.
All right. If you can turn back time and talk to your 18-year-old self, what would you tell her about where you are now?
Hmm, my 18-year-old self, I would tell her that you did it. You got through it. It doesn't matter how, just trust that you will get through anything that comes in your way because the other side is so beautiful You built a life for yourself. You love it. You have a little cat that loves you. Everything works out. You got everything you ever wanted.
All right. If you could have a billboard with anything on it, what would it be and why?
It would say, be kind, because I find that it's very easy to get lost in life by taking things personally. People often, if they meet someone that's like unpleasant, they won't like them, they'll be hurt by the things that they say, but so much more often than not, people do not mean to be that way. It's just like something happened or a trauma or a trigger, anything like that. So just be kind because you don't know what happened. You don't know everyone's story.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. I mean, that is such a good statement because we don't know what other people are going through. I mean, we think we do, but we really don't. People could be going through a bad day and that could trigger them to like lash out at you and like the old saying goes, one good turn deserves another.
Mm-hmm.
If you're kind to them, they'll be kind back to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the mind is very egocentrical, so it's very easy to just think about yourself. But honestly, life is so much easier if you think of things that way. Just let things roll off your back.
All right. What do you
Mm-hmm.
think the world will look like in 5 years?
Hmm. In 5 years, I'm pretty optimistic. I think that we are seeing a lot more awakening, a lot more kind of mental health awareness, a lot more ASD awareness, even. So I think that things will be very different. I'm hoping to see much more resources and things like legislations and laws for it. I'm hoping that we would have grown a lot in that sense.
All right. What was your favorite subject in school?
Art class.
All right. Would you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
Um, I would say ambivert, I think is the word.
An ambivert, yeah.
Um, yes, because it definitely depends on the situation. If I'm with people that I'm comfortable with, I'm going to come off as extroverted because I'm comfortable. But if I'm in a place where I'm meeting lots of new people, I might want to observe first before I interact. So I might come off as introverted. And I love my alone time just as much as I
Mhm.
love being with others. So I think it's quite in the middle.
All right. If you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be and why?
I would want people to think that I really saw them for who they were. Beyond actions and beyond words, I want people to feel like they were seen by me, that I knew their essence and who they wanted to be perceived as, rather than what, a bad day might have made them come across as.
All right. What? Tell me about where you are now in life.
Where I am now in life, that's a loaded question. Um, I'm in a really good place in life. Life is never going to stop happening or being hard, but I think that my personal mental health journey and my career journey has been a huge support in making me feel stable no matter what happens around me. I have a career that I love. I would love to keep learning and growing. I just became a permanent resident of Canada, so that was a great achievement for me. So I'm in a pretty stable, healthy place, I would say.
All right. Now we're at the part of the show where everyone loves, but I want to remind people, please sign up to my Patreon because this is how you'll get new shows, and please click the like and the share button down below. Now, what is your favorite word?
Serendipitous.
What is your least favorite word?
That's so hard. Um, Least favorite word. I don't I don't have one, I don't think.
Okay. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, and emotionally?
Creatively, I'd say definitely when I feel like I have peace of mind is when I feel like I can produce work and creative things and artwork. What was the second one?
Spiritually,
spiritually, and the third one.
emotionally.
Okay. Spiritually, nature. Being in nature definitely feels like it activates that part of me. Just seeing like a great tree or a great sunset makes me feel like, oh my God, there's so much more to this world. Life is so beautiful. Birds are amazing. How are they made? And emotionally, um, a lot of environmental factors. So it depends on who I'm with, the situation. So when I feel like I'm with people that are accepting of me is when I feel open enough to be my most vulnerable emotional self.
All right. What turns you off?
Um, Passive aggressiveness. That's my biggest pet peeve when people don't say what they mean because it's already hard for me to read people sometimes.
All
So
right.
definitely that.
Okay. What's your favorite curse word?
My favorite curse word. Um, I mean, I don't want to say it on something that's going to go on the internet, so I'll say the F word, but I feel like it's cliche, but super expressive.
All right. What sound or noise do you love?
Oh, hair brushing. It's weird, but soothing.
All right. What sound or noise do you hate?
Sirens, like fire alarms.
All right. What is your favorite color?
Red,
What is your least favorite color?
orange.
All right. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
A professional artist. I would
Uh,
love that.
All
That's the
right.
dream.
What profession would you not like to do?
Um, Anything that's a permanent desk job.
All right. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Mm, I would really like to hear you did your best and that was the right thing to do.
All right. When you arrive at heaven, who would you like to meet?
My dad.
All right. What books do you recommend my audience read?
Hmm. I haven't read a lot of books since I was a kid, but it is a kid's book, but I'm still gonna mention it because I still think about it and it was important to me. Vicky Angel by Jacqueline Wilson was a book about a girl and her friend that suddenly passes away, but her spirit kind of lives on in her, and it's just a beautiful story about friendship. And I don't know, it really stuck with me. It's not deep or philosophical or life-changing, but
Hmm.
it's just a great story that, stuck with me for 10 years.
All right. And finally, where can people find out more about you on the web?
Definitely asdlifecoaches.com where this will be. And my LinkedIn is open to anybody under my name, Maryam Mogawer, obviously.
All right, everyone. That was Maryam Mogawer, and I'm Reid Miles, and I'll see you in the next one. See you there, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Miriam.
Thank you so much, Reid.
Not a problem.
Pleasure.